All right, let's talk about something that could be the secret weapon in your grow room, a hidden force that's often totally overlooked. We're diving into what's called vapor pressure deficit, or VPD for short.
Okay, so let's set the scene with something I bet a lot of you have gone through. You know, that frustrating problem that sends you scrambling for answers online, trying all these quick fixes that, well, they just don't seem to work.
So you see this, right? The yellowing leaves, the curling, and it's just maddening. You're thinking, I did everything by the book, the nutrients, the light schedule, what is going on? And of course, the first thing you do is you go ask for help.
And this is pretty much the first thing you hear, isn't it? Oh yeah, curling leaves? Just add more CalMag. It's like the internet's cure-all for, well, everything. Just dump some more in, problem solved. Or is it?
But here's the thing. What if that advice, that go-to answer, is totally missing the point? What if the real problem isn't what's in the nutrient bottle, but it's actually in the air itself?
And that invisible force is exactly what we're talking about today, vapor pressure deficit. Now, I know it sounds super scientific, maybe a little intimidating, but trust me, this is the key. It's the real science behind why your plants might be struggling, and it's way more powerful than any supplement you can buy. So what exactly is VPD? Well, the easiest way to think about it is this. It's a measure of how thirsty the air is. It's the gap between how much moisture is currently in the air and how much it could possibly hold at that temperature. And that thirst level, it basically controls how your plant breathes. Okay, to really nail this down and make it super simple, we're going to use an analogy. It's a great one. Just imagine the air in your grow room is a big sponge. And honestly, whether that sponge is soaking wet or bone dry, that changes everything. All right, scenario 1, a low VPD. Think of this as a completely soaked, dripping wet sponge. The air is already packed with moisture, right? So it can't take on any more water from your plant's leaves. And that is really bad news. It means the plant can't breathe out water vapor, a process called transpiration. So the whole system just grinds to a halt. Nutrient uptake stops, and what's worse, all that damp, stagnant air is the perfect invitation for mold and mildew. Now let's flip it to the other extreme, high VPD. This is your dry sponge. The air is just so thirsty, so desperate for moisture that it violently rips water out of the plant's leaves. It forces them to transpire way too fast. This puts your plant under a ton of stress, and that's when you start seeing those telltale signs like curling leaves and stunted growth. And that brings us to the goal, the sweet spot, optimal VPD. This is our perfectly damp sponge. The air is in this beautiful balance. It's not too wet, it's not too dry. It has just enough thirst to let the plant transpire at a really healthy, comfortable pace. This is where your plant can relax and just thrive.
So we've got the sponge analogy down, but how does this actually affect what's going on inside your plant? Let's move from the idea of a sponge to the real science happening in those leaves and stems.
Think about a plant's plumbing like a bunch of tiny straws. Down at the bottom, the roots are sucking up water and all those nutrients. But what's the force that pulls all that liquid up the straw against gravity, all the way to the top leaves? That's transpiration. And what's the engine that drives transpiration? You got it. It's VPD. If that engine isn't running smoothly, nothing gets delivered.
So let's just lay it all out. When your VPD is low, that's our wet sponge, nutrient uptake basically stalls, and your risk for mold and mildew goes way up. When it's too high, the dry sponge, the plant gets stressed out and it can't feed properly. But right there in the middle, in that optimal zone, nutrient uptake is super efficient and the risk of disease drops. The takeaway here is huge. Your environment is what's controlling your plant's health. And this right here is probably the single most important thing to understand. The yellowing leaves, the curling, the slow growth, all those symptoms that have you reaching for the CalMag bottle can be caused entirely by your VPD being wrong. The nutrients might be right there in the soil, but the plant literally can't drink them because the engine that powers the whole system has been shut down. So this means we have to change how we think, right? We have to stop just treating the symptoms we see and start fixing the actual root cause of the problem. It's about being smarter than the quick fixes. You know, there's a quote from one of the sources that just nails it. It says that trying to fix a VPD problem with supplements is like putting makeup on a bruise. It's perfect, isn't it? You might cover up the ugly spot for a little while, but you've done absolutely nothing to heal the actual injury underneath. Let's just put it side by side. The quick fix, add in CalMag, just masks the symptom. It's based on a total guess, and you know what? It ultimately leads to weaker plants. But the real solution, managing your VPD, that addresses the root cause. It's backed by actual science, and it builds strong, resilient, happy plants. It's really no contest. So how do you actually do this? How do you take control? It's really just a simple 3-step process. Step 1, get good, accurate readings of your grow room's temperature and humidity. Step 2, plug those numbers into an online VPD calculator. They're easy to find. And step 3, gently adjust your temperature or your humidity to get into that sweet spot, that perfectly damp sponge zone. And this really should be your new #1 rule. Before you ever think about adding a supplement to fix an issue, the very first thing you do, no exceptions, is check your environment. Check your VPD. Making that one simple change in your routine will make you a way better, more successful grower. I guarantee it. So, I'm going to leave you with this question. The next time you see a plant that's struggling, what are you going to do? Are you going to reach for a bottle and just put some makeup on the bruise? Or are you going to look at the air itself and solve the problem right at its source? The choice is yours.